What is the rule of law, and how does it facilitate good governance in a country? Imagine the rules of a game, like football or chess. The rule of law means that in a country, everyone, from an ordinary citizen to the most powerful politician, agrees to play by the same set of fixed and fair rules. These rules are the law. It's built on a few key ideas. No one is above the law. The Prime Minister, the police, and a shopkeeper must all obey the same laws. If the Prime Minister breaks a law, they face the same consequences as the shopkeeper would. Laws are clear, public, and stable. The rules are written down for everyone to see and understand. They don't change suddenly or secretly. This allows people to know what is legal and what is not. Fair process. If you are accused of breaking a law, you have the right to a fair trial before an independent and impartial judge. The government can't just lock you up because it doesn't like you. The law applies to the government itself. The government's power is limited by the law. It can only do what the law allows it to do. It can't just do whatever it wants. In short, the country is governed by laws, not by the personal moods or whims of its leaders. General impact on public governance. When the rule of law is strong, it changes how the government works and how people live. Predictability. Businesses know the rules won't change overnight, so they are more willing to invest, build factories, and create jobs, stability, and peace. Because people trust the system to be fair, they are less likely to take the law into their own hands or riot. Disputes are settled in courts, not on the streets. Control of corruption. Since no one is above the law, it's much harder for a government official to demand a bribe or give special favors to friends without facing consequences. Protection of rights. Your fundamental rights, like free speech, property, and safety, are protected by the law and the courts, not by the goodwill of the leader. Why are the countries have respect for rule of law better? It's fair, predictable, and encourages hard work and innovation. In whimsical countries, success depends on who you know or how much you can bribe, which kills motivation and trust. Why are rule of law countries so few? This is the sad reality. Building and maintaining a rule of law system is very difficult for several reasons. It limits the power of the rulers. Leaders in many countries do not want to be constrained by laws. They enjoy the power to make decisions on a whim, reward their friends, and punish their enemies. Giving up this power is not in their personal interest. It requires strong, independent institutions. You need honest police, professional civil servants, and independent judges who are not afraid to rule against the government. Building these institutions takes decades, even centuries. They are easily destroyed by corruption or a power-hungry leader. Culture and history. In some countries, people are used to a system where a strong leader or a tribal chief makes all the decisions. The idea that a written law is more powerful than a person is a new and difficult concept. Corruption is a vicious cycle. Once corruption sets in, it becomes the normal way of doing things. The people in power who benefit from the corrupt system will actively fight to stop reforms that would introduce the rule of law and take away their privileges. Poverty and instability. When a country is struggling with poverty, conflict, or crisis, people often prioritize food and security over abstract concepts like judicial independence. A strong leader who promises quick solutions, even if they break the rules, can be more appealing than a slow, legal process. In essence, the rule of law is like a delicate garden. It takes generations of hard work to cultivate, but it can be destroyed very quickly by those who see it as an obstacle to their own power. That is why countries that truly have it are rare and precious. Think of the rule of law as the rules of the game of life that apply to everyone equally. For the general public, this isn't just a fancy political idea. It's the foundation for a safe, fair, and predictable life. Here's why it's so beneficial for you and your family, with examples. It provides safety and security. What it means: the police and government cannot harass you, imprison you, or take your property without a legal reason. You are protected from the abuse of power. Example without rule of law. A police officer can knock on your door and arrest your son because a powerful person in the neighborhood doesn't like him. You have no way to stop it. Your family lives in constant fear. Example with rule of law. If the police want to arrest your son, they must have evidence that he broke a specific, known law. They must formally charge him, and he has the right to a lawyer and a fair trial to prove his innocence. Your safety from arbitrary power is guaranteed. It creates fairness and equality, what it means. The law is the great equalizer. Your wealth, connections, or social status don't determine your rights. Example without rule of law. A rich businessman wants to build a mall on the land where your house is. He can pay off a government official to forcibly evict you, offering you little to no compensation. You have no recourse. Example with rule of law. That same businessman must follow the law of eminent domain. The government can only take your property for a genuine public purpose, like a school or a road, and must pay you a fair market price for it. If you think the offer is unfair, you can challenge it in court. The law protects the little guy against the powerful. It allows you to plan your life. What it means. The rules are clear and don't change overnight. This predictability allows you to work hard and build a better future with confidence. Example without rule of law. You use your life savings to open a small bakery. One day, a new mayor takes office and passes a decree saying, "No bakeries can be owned by people from your town." Your business is instantly destroyed, and you lose everything. There is no predictability. Example with rule of law. You know the health, safety, and tax rules for running a bakery. As long as you follow these published rules, you can be confident that your business is safe. You can hire employees, sign a 5-year lease, and take a loan to expand, knowing the fundamental rules won't be arbitrarily changed to ruin you. It gives you a path to justice. What it means. If you are wronged, you have a peaceful and reliable place to go to settle the dispute. You don't have to resort to violence or vengeance. Example without rule of law. Your neighbor builds a wall that blocks the only access road to your house. You complain, but he is a cousin of the local police chief. You are stuck. Your only options are to accept it or start a dangerous feud. Example with rule of law. You can take your neighbor to a civil court. An impartial judge will listen to both sides, look at the property laws, and order your neighbor to tear down the wall. The power of the state is used to enforce a fair outcome, not to help the well-connected. It controls corruption. What it means. Because no one is above the law, officials can't easily demand bribes for basic services. Example without rule of law. To get a driver's license, you have to pay a special fee, a bribe, to the clerk. To get your child into a public school, you have to donate to the principal. This makes life more expensive and unfair for everyone, especially the poor. Example with rule of law. The fee for a driver's license is fixed and public. If a clerk asks you for a bribe, you can report them to an anti-corruption agency, and they will face legal consequences. You get what you are entitled to, based on the law, not on the size of your wallet. In a nutshell, for the average person, the rule of law is the difference between living in a might makes right world and a right makes might world. Without it, your safety, property, and future depend on the whims of the powerful. You live at their mercy. With it, your safety, property, and future are protected by a set of fair rules. You have rights that you can rely on, even when you are standing against the most powerful people in the country. It is the reason you can sleep peacefully at night, knowing that your hard work will pay off.